Hey, this is Lewis from SoFly, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about page speed and Oxygen, your page load times. I get asked all the time, how does Oxygen compare to Beaver Builder, Elementor, etc. with regards to page load time? So I'm going to just do a GTmetrix test on oxygenbuilder.com, Beaver Builder's website, Elementor's website. Oxygen, I think, is going to win this competition, but really, it's not because Oxygen is necessarily better. Page speed is more about what's on your page, other plugins you're using, how you've set up caching. So really the factors that you got to have are a good web host with caching. We're using WP Engine. Use reasonably sized images on your pages. And if you're going to use plugins that are, sloppy and load JavaScript on pages that doesn't need to be there, clean it up with something like WP Asset Manager or combine CSS with Auto Optimize or a plugin like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the test. So this is oxygenbuilder.com, the website for Oxygen. Of course, it's built with Oxygen. And while this is loading, I'm going to go ahead and fire up another one. We're going to test Beaver Builder's website. Use the www in Beaver Builder's website to be fair, because if we didn't do it, it would redirect and it would actually unfairly slow down Beaver Builder's load time. So I do want to make this a fair comparison. And then let's do Elementor's website. I think that's without the www. So, okay, we'll just paste that in. And here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Oxygen. So for oxygenbuilder.com, fully loaded time 1.3 seconds. That is quite fast. Page size 956 kilobytes. It's more a function of the images we're using on the pages. Page speed score of A, Y slow score of C. If we look at Y slow, the problems are really, we're getting an E or F here, because a lot of HTTP requests, but that's because of our ad tracking code. So that's not really anything to do with Oxygen itself. If we take a look at the waterfall, this is the real details here. So we load oxygenbuilder.com. This is fast because we're on WP Engine with caching. Then it loads our CSS. This is fast because 1, Oxygen caches it. 2, we're using Auto Optimize. We don't have any extra BS requests in here because we cleaned that up with WP Asset Cleanup. So all the plugins we're using, they're not loading extra JavaScripts on this page. All the images here are compressed, and by this point, the page is really fully loaded. But then we got some slow stuff from Google Tag Manager. We're using that for Facebook ads, for Google Analytics, etc. So it's just kind of unavoidable if you want JavaScript, analytics tracking on your site. But either way, even with all that on the site, Facebook, Pixel, etc., it's fully loaded in 1.3 seconds. If I took that off, we'd be fully loaded in, say, 0.5 seconds. Okay, let's take a look at Beaver Builder. So fully loaded time here of 4.2 seconds. I don't think that's really Beaver Builder's fault though, because if we take a look at the load time, okay, theirs is 300 milliseconds for the home page. Ours is 87 milliseconds. Well, maybe our caching is just a little bit better. That's not Oxygen. That we're on WP Engine. I don't know where they're hosting. It looks like just all their static resources. They've really got a lot of stuff going on this site. Like, I don't know why they're loading the WooCommerce styles on the homepage, so it just looks like it's not as optimized as ours, not because Beaver Builder is faulty in that regard, but just because they haven't taken the time to optimize this. And then the real slowness, again, comes from, looks like they've got this stuff for Typekit for their fonts. With Oxygen, you can self-host the font, so that speeds things up, which is nice. That is one real benefit of Oxygen for page speed. And then they got the Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager tracking in here maybe. So 4.2 seconds. Okay, so we're beating them pretty good, but I really think only a little bit of this has to do with Oxygen, and most of this just has to do with the way we set up our site. Then Elementor, fully loaded time of 3.2 seconds. So again, we're beating them. Not as badly as Beaver Builder, but we're beating them pretty good. But, maybe they could have optimized their images, right? They didn't do that. If we look at the waterfall here, looks like really the problem here is that their homepage has just taken almost a full second to load, and that's just because they didn't set up caching, I guess. Doesn't look like they've set up caching, right? If you took caching off an Oxygen site, it would probably take a similar amount of time to actually generate the page, and that's why I advise using a good web host like Pagely, WP Engine, Flywheel, any modern reputable WordPress host. I think even GoDaddy hosting now has good caching on it. And then the other stuff, I don't know what that request is right here. If that's caused by Elementor, that's not good, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. And then it looks like the other stuff is as usual. We got Google Analytics tracking, Facebook tracking, etc., which is the real slow factors. So I think if Elementor set up catching, they'd probably come in at around 1.5 seconds without the Google Analytics stuff. Looks like Beaver Builder, if they just cleaned up their site, they've got a lot of extra stuff on here, like this WooCommerce stuff. Yeah, you just got a lot of extra stuff, tons of JavaScript. I don't know why they're loading all this stuff. I don't think they really need it, but they are, whatever. And then Oxygen, I mean, we just cleaned this up. That's why it's so quick. Let me take a look at the source code of oxygenbuilder.com. If you do care about clean HTML, Oxygen absolutely wins this battle. We'll take a look at Elementor and Beaver Builder's website again. I'm not going to do Divi in this video, but Divi is the same story as Elementor and Beaver Builder, basically. So, okay, let's look at, say, this heading. So if you imagine this section, we got a section with a heading in it and some text. So really, it shouldn't require a lot of messy HTML. But the way Elementor works is that you just got, somebody called it divception. I didn't see the movie, but I understand what they're getting at here. Like, we've got the heading, and it's nested inside this div, which adds an extra div that doesn't need to be there. And then that's nested inside this div. And then it's nested in this div, which is nested in another div. 3 divs. We got 3 divs the exact same size doing the exact same thing. Then that's in a row. So we actually got 4 divs that are all the same size. And then here's the container for the section, then the section itself. And then we got 4 more divs. I mean, we are so many divs deep here. Oh my god, we're really deep. Okay, we got a div, and then 1 div, 2 divs deep, 3 divs deep, 4 divs deep, section article, 5, 6 deep, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we're nested inside of 18 elements before we get to this thing. So what the actual, what are they? I don't know. It's a mess. Beaver Builder, it uses Bootstrap. So let's take a look at this. Okay, we're pretty nested in here. We got a section here, but okay, yeah, it's the same story here. We got a div, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, we got this divs of the same size, right? We got our column group. See, everything's a column in Beaver Builder, even if you don't need a column, right? This is just it should be a section, but you got this extra stuff. Here, see, we got the column group, and then the column, and then the column content is just the same size divs, and then the module, and then the module content, and then the text, and then finally we get the actual element. This is really the only element that would need to be there. That's the beauty of Oxygen. It only puts on your page what you put on your page. You add a heading to your page, that's all that's going to be there. It doesn't add all these weird nested, HTMLs. But let's count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, 16. So Elementor, 18 levels of nesting before we get to a heading in a section. Beaver Builder, 16. It's ridiculous, but that's just why a lot of people don't like these page builders, because they generate bloated, messy code. Is that really slowing down your site? No, not really. HTML loads so fast. Is this bad for search engine optimization? Yeah, but it's not a major factor, right? There are a lot more important things to worry about. I don't know why people spend so much time worrying about this stuff. Like my other website, wplimport.com, for other product, we built this with Visual Composer and the total theme. This website ranks great on Google. It's made millions of dollars. So it's okay. You can deal with it. But if you do care, Oxygen is way better. Let's take a look at Oxygen here. We got a heading. Okay, let's take a look at the code here. Look at this. We already can see our body right here. Look how much cleaner it is. We got our construction warning. We got our section for our header. We got our page inner content section. This is really the only thing where we got 2 divs of the same size here, and that's just because the way we built this page. We got our section inner wrap, heading. So levels of nesting, we got our heading 1, 2, 3, and we're already at the body. So 3 levels of nesting, 18 levels of nesting, and 16 levels of nesting, or maybe it was 16, 18. I don't know. I don't care. But either way, look at this clean, beautiful code, right? Only the stuff you put on your page is on your page. So it's just nice, and let's go down. What am I looking at here? I don't know where I am on the page, but let's take a look at this, for example. We got our text. See, you got a div with your heading and your text and your button. Nice and simple. I mean, let's imagine we look at a button in Elementor, say, and we got the button text in a span, inside another span, inside a link, inside the button wrapper, inside the widget container, inside the element container. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tags, 6 HTML tags. They all got different classes on them, and CSS, which they got in this weird file here, versus a button. 1 HTML tag for a button. That's how it should be. Oxygen is all about clean code because it's what you put on your page. It doesn't do all this extra BS that these page builders do. Anyway, I'm not going to show Divi in this video. You know what? I will show Divi in this video if you're still watching. You can stop watching now because that's all I got to say. But just for fun, let's take a look at Divi. So, okay, I bet this was built with Divi. But you never know. Much better for a button with Divi. It's just one tag. But, yeah, this is much better. Much better than Elementor and Beaver with the code. But we still got big time nesting, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 levels of nesting. So more than we need, but actually this is much cleaner code than I was expecting. So definitely give Divi some props for having cleaner code output than Elementor and Beaver Builder. That said, I don't know if this page is actually built with Divi. If it is, awesome. If not, then, you know, meaningless. But this page was built with Beaver Builder. I'm sure of it, and this page is built with Elementor. I know it. I can tell from the code. Okay, that is what I wanted to say about page speed and clean HTML code in Oxygen versus the competition. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been informative. Again, this is Lewis from SoFly. If you got any questions, join us on the Facebook group. We've got over 1,000 people in there now. We just launched 2.0. So it'll be a lot more by the time you're in there. It's active. We got a Slack chat. Great community of users. So you want to talk about Oxygen, come in there, get your questions answered. And okay, thank you very much for watching.